Well, welcome back, guys. It's good to see you. This is Embrace the Question and another installment of Bible study with me. This is Genesis chapter 27. Now, before I start, I want to invite you to subscribe if you're not. If this is your first time, welcome. You are absolutely free to continue this Bible study from this point forward, or you can go back to the very beginning, Genesis chapter 1, and try to catch up. But that is a little ways back now. So nobody gets brownie points from God for getting the entire Bible crammed into a year, by the way. So it's not a big deal. Just join us where you are at, and you can catch up later. There is a blog that you will find in the notes with definitely some more interesting subject matter in it that I have. Let's just say it's not in any sort of sequential order. It just appears as the inspiration is provided. So I invite you to check that out. Also, if you don't like commercials and you're trying to do this in a small group, see the notes about that as well. All right, let's get started. Guys, Genesis 27 is absolutely one of the most content-rich chapters that I have found in the Bible. There are many, I grant it, but this is an amazingly deep chapter. We're talking about the war between Jacob and Esau, and also a bit of a war between Isaac and Rebeka, his wife. So there's a lot going on here, and the symbology is everywhere. We may or may not be able to talk about all the symbolism, but we are going to talk about some. So let's start. Verse 1. I will try to do the 5-verse increment as we've been doing. So here we go. When Isaac was old and his eyes were dim, so that he could not see, he called Esau his older son and said to him, "My son." And he answered, "Here I am." He said, "Behold, I am old. I do not know the day of my death. Now then, take your weapons, your quiver and your bow, and go out to the field and hunt game for me, and prepare for me delicious food, such as I love, and bring it to me, so that I may eat, that my soul may bless you before I die." Now Rebekah was listening when Isaac spoke to his son Esau. So when Isaac went to the field to hunt for game and bring it, okay, we'll stop right there. What I would like to point out already is there seems to be a bit of an espionage going on, right? We're going to see Rebekah listening a lot to Isaac. Now, what's Isaac doing? He's hungry. He says, "I'm hungry. Bring me some venison." That sounds a lot to me like Esau stumbling in after a long hunting trip and saying to his brother, "Give me some of that red stuff, and I will sell my birthright for it. I'm dying here." Well, guess what? Isaac's saying, "I'm dying here." Now, Martin Luther did some study on this, and he believed, I don't know, I didn't study his studies, but he believed that Isaac was approximately 137 years old here. Now, I don't blame the guy for thinking the end is near. If you're 137, the end is likely closer than not, right? But Isaac does not pass until Genesis 35, and he's 180 years old, which means he's still got 43 years left. Now, granted, he is blind. "My son, is that you?" "Here I am, Father." "Okay, so that's you. I'm hungry. I'm dying. Don't know the day of my death, but I'm dying. Give me some of that red stuff." No, he says, "Go out and get me some venison." "Okay, because I love it." Verse 4, that delicious food such as I love. You know, the stuff I love that you hunt out of the field. He's into the man's man stuff. Go get me a deer. Okay, I'll do it. But Rebecca's listening. I don't know why she's listening. She always seems to be at the door. She always seems to be on the other side of the tent, right? And such is the case. And she's got things on her mind. Let's find out what those are. Verse 6. Rebekah said to her son Jacob, I heard your father speak to your brother Esau. Bring me game and prepare for me delicious food, that I may eat it and bless you before the Lord, before I die. Now therefore, my son, obey my voice as I command you. Go to the flock and bring me 2 good young goats, so that I may prepare from them delicious food for your father, such as he loves. And you shall bring it to your father to eat, so that he may bless you before he dies. What's going on? We have some sabotage going on as well. She realizes that Isaac is preparing to bless the older son. What's wrong with this picture? Maybe it seems to her that Isaac is doing this secretly. Maybe they've had the conversation, because at the end of chapter 26, it was made very clear. Let's just skip back a chapter. 26, go to the very bottom. When Esau was 40 years old, he took Judith, the daughter of Beeri, and the Hittite to be his wife, and Basemath, the daughter of Elon, the Hittite. And they made life bitter for Isaac and Rebekah. Do you think this is a matter of new conversation for them? I would imagine that they have been talking about Esau and his ridiculous decisions for years now. And yet, Esau seems to have his father's favor. And so his father's wanting to move on this blessing thing. And perhaps he's doing it without the knowledge of his wife. Perhaps he's doing it as secretly as possible. I'm surmising, because there's so much here that doesn't seem to make sense. Are you detecting that there is no trust in this house? There's no trust in the house. Isaac is doing things maybe secretly. Esau, well, he's already kind of put out with his brother for stealing his birthright, however long ago. Rebekah listening and having her favored son, Jacob, to do things, under the cover, so to speak. And nobody's being honest with anybody else. This is quite a family for the lineage of the Messiah to be emanating from, for the blessing of the world to be coming through this funnel of deception. Jacob is named Jacob, for goodness sake, which means heel catcher, means deceiver, one who causes someone else to trip. That is a bit interesting too. So now she's saying, well, your father sent Esau out to get game because he's really wanting some game. So tell you what, let's just cook a couple of the goats from our own pen outside, because guess what? He's blind. He's really not got discerning taste anyway. He won't be able to tell goat from deer. This is crazy. He can't taste it anyway. He's 137 years old. He just wants to play the masculinity card. I want some venison. I'm dying. Give me some of that venison that you are so good at hunting, son. But Jacob said to Rebekah, his mother, behold, my brother Esau is a hairy man. and I am a smooth man. Indeed you are. Perhaps my father will feel me, and I shall seem to be mocking him, and bring a curse upon myself and not a blessing. His mother said to him, Let your curse be on me, my son. Only obey my voice, and go bring them to me. So he went and took them and brought them, the goats, to his mother. And his mother prepared delicious food, such as his father loved. Then Rebekah took the best garments of Esau, her older son, which were with her in the house, and put them on Jacob, her younger son. Okay, there's 5 verses. We've got deception in full form here. We're going to dress you up as Esau. We're going to make you smell a bit like Esau because you're going to be wearing his clothes. And I'm going to cook goats instead of venison because he'll never tell the difference. I know how your father likes it. I'll just curry it. You know, it just tastes like curry. So it doesn't matter what the meat is. That's my motto anyway. Doesn't matter as long as you curry it. Well, Jacob is all too willing. His only concern is getting caught. He doesn't want to be cursed. It's not the moral standard that maybe you would expect Israel to have. In fact, there is no moral standard here. He's not worried about the actual transgression. He just doesn't want to get caught. All right. That is a bit concerning. But here we go. The best garments of Esau, her older son, and she clothes Jacob with those. Okay, what happens? Verse 16. And the skins of the young goats she put on his hands and on the smooth part of his neck. And she put the delicious food and the bread, which she had prepared, into the hand of her son Jacob. So he went in to his father and said, My father. And he's probably using the deep voice, my father. And he said, Here I am. Who are you, my son? He is blind. Jacob said to his father, I am Esau, your firstborn. I have done as you told me. Now sit up and eat of my game, that your soul may bless me. But Isaac said to his son, How is it that you found it so quickly, my son? He answered, Because the Lord your God granted me success. We're just lying up a storm, are we not? It's interesting to me that Jacob is clothed with the skins of the young goats that gave their lives to feed his father. The reason that catches me is because I'm reminded of Genesis 3 at the fall, when God has to clothe Adam and Eve with the skins of animals, which you can only assume are lamb skins, because a lamb or a ram has to die for sin. This really parallels that. And it's to be a substitute to the Father. In a way, that was the purpose of the sacrifice, was the ram could die as a substitute for the transgressor. We have that going on here. The Father can't tell the difference. I don't know that I've actually ever seen that before. But here it is in the story. The Father can't tell the difference because the sacrifice is that good. Now we're tied right into Hebrews, right? That the sacrifice is once for all. The sacrifice of Jesus is once for all. It's better than the blood of rams and goats, and that it is sufficient to the Father. So I believe we have stories hidden here in Genesis 27. And Jacob has flat out become sin, right? He has lied to the Father. But Isaac says to his son, How is it that you found game so quickly? And He answers, because the Lord your God granted me success. Obviously, none of this has happened. So Isaac's happy. He's going to eat this goat. Verse 21. Then Isaac said to Jacob, please come near that I may feel you, my son, to know whether you are really my son Esau or not. So Jacob went near to Isaac his father, who felt him and said, the voice is Jacob's voice, but the hands are the hands of Esau. And he did not recognize him because his hands were hairy like his brother Esau's hands, so he blessed him. He said, are you really my son Esau? And he answered, I am. Interesting answer, I am. Then he said, bring it near to me that I may eat of my son's game and bless you. So he brought it near to him, and he ate, and he brought him wine, and he drank. Wow. The things that I'm beginning to see in this passage is really starting to blow my mind, and it may warrant more study, to be quite honest. The father feels Jacob's hands, and what he feels is hairy, so he assumes, yes, this has got to be Esau. He's basically saying Esau feels like a goat because these are goat skins. He's just wearing goat skins on his arms. His mom's got him all tied up in goat skins. I can't imagine being that hairy. I mean, I've got enough arm hair as it is, but to feel like a goat, I hope never. But Isaac can't tell the difference. To him, he says, it sounds like Jacob, and it feels like Esau. Are you really my son Esau? I am. You know, that particular answer is going to set me off because that is Jesus' claim. I am that I am. Tell him the I am sent you. The I am has sent you. Yes, I'm going to have to study that more because, again, we've got things hidden here in the text. In my book, I call this a hollow tile. If you've ever been in an office with a tile floor and you've sat at a desk chair and you roll across the floor and it makes that sound, but as soon as you roll across a hollow tile, it makes a different sound. I've just detected a different sound here. We've discovered some secrets. All right, let's go to verse 26. Then his father Isaac said to him, come near and kiss me, my son. So he came near and kissed him, and Isaac smelled the smell of his garments and blessed him and said, see, the smell of my son is as of the smell of a field that the Lord has blessed. May God give you the dew of heaven and of the fatness of the earth and plenty of grain and wine. Let people serve you and nations bow down to you. Be Lord over your brothers, and may your mother's sons bow down to you. Cursed be everyone who curses you, and blessed be everyone who blesses you. As soon as Isaac had finished blessing Jacob, when Jacob had scarcely gone out from the presence of Isaac, his father, Esau, his brother, came in from his hunting. All right, what we have here is the blessing. The blessing. You're familiar with the birthright. You may not be familiar with the blessing. Are they the same? They are not the same. It probably is the case that Isaac knew Jacob was going to get the birthright, or that Jacob had the birthright, because that transaction went down very likely years in the past when Esau sold his birthright. He despised his birthright and sold it to his brother for a bowl of soup. Word probably got out. Okay? So it's entirely possible that Isaac knew Esau wasn't going to have the birthright, but it was his intent to bless Esau. So what is the difference between the birthright and the blessing. Okay, the birthright is a word called bakera, and the blessing, bless, is barak in Hebrew. So blessings is barakot. So we have bakera and barakot. A bit confusing. One is almost a transposition of the other. Bakera is birthright. Barakot, blessings. The birthright is the spiritual blessing. It's the spiritual direction. It's the way that you are going to bless the world, spiritually speaking. You're going to bless the world. You're going to be a blessing to the whole world. It was okay for Isaac to relinquish that, I believe, to Jacob, because that's not really a man's pursuit in life in Isaac's eyes. Isaac wanted to pursue the manly things. He wanted to pursue the physical things, the hunt, the provision for the family, the material wealth. That's the blessing. That's the barakot. So he was willing that Esau got the blessing and that Jacob, I think, got the birthright. His mother, Rebeka, was not willing that those be divided. Maybe she thought that out. And I want you to know that that's significant, because it is difficult to bless spiritually if you do not have physical resources. Okay, it is difficult to be a blessing to all the families of the world if you do not have the materials to make your own foundation secure. Your own base is secure. They go hand in hand. Jesus says, I have come that you may have life, that you may have abundant life. That is life in all aspects. That is more than enough in all aspects, from spiritual to mental to physical, all these ways. So Rebeka was right. Those two belong together. One should not be materially bankrupt and yet somehow able to bless the world. I think it boils down to testimony. In order to bless the world with spiritual truth, the world has to look at you and say, hey, that's worth pursuing. I wouldn't mind being like you. I wouldn't mind depending on God for my material resources, my food, my clothing, because those are the things God told us not to worry about. He said, you guys are worried about what you're going to eat, what you're going to drink, what you're going to wear, and I already know, the Father already knows that you need those things. So those things are provided by God as part of the relationship, part of the covenant. So what we see here is Isaac granting physical blessing to Esau, or he thinks he's granting it to Esau, but he says something interesting here. He recants something, not recants, but he decrees something that was decreed to his father Abraham, which was what? Verse 29. Cursed be everyone who curses you, and blessed be everyone who blesses you. This is where I want to stop and take a look at something that Isaac says in reference to the blessing that was given to his father Abraham. We all know it from Genesis chapter 12. He who curses you will be cursed. He who blesses you will be blessed. 12 verse 3. And through you will all the families of the earth be blessed. Now I want you to think about that for just a moment. I am going to curse those who curse you, bless those that bless you, and in your family, through your family, will all the nations of the earth be blessed. That presents a few difficulties. And I have known that verse ever since I have known any verses. That's just one of the verses that's always, it's almost heralded in some of our churches. Yep, you got to bless Israel. You can't curse Israel, because if you curse Israel, you're going to be cursed. And I never stopped to think that that might not be the exact correct translation. So let's go back over here to Genesis 12, verse 3, and take a look at the exact phrase. I will bless them that bless you, and curse them that curse you, and in thee all families of the earth will be blessed, right? You ever considered how he's going to bless all these cursed families? In this particular translation, it says, and him who dishonors you I will curse, and in you all the families of the earth shall be blessed. I have never put two and two together that this is not in the character of Jesus. This is not even what Jesus taught. Jesus says, bless those who curse you. Bless those who persecute you. They're crucifying him, and he says, these don't know what they're doing. Forgive them. This doesn't sound like it's in character with Jesus. John 3:17, he didn't come into the world to condemn the world. He came into the world to save the world. He came into the world that all the world might be blessed. He's carrying out the very covenant that was made with Abraham. Okay, so then why this? And what do we do with it? Check this out. There was a man back in the 1700s. His name was Rabbi Elijah, and he's got a very long name, and I can't remember it all. But he was famous for translating the Talmud. I'll try to get that name here so that you can look at it. He was famous for translating the Talmud. He was a Talmudic scholar and other biblical texts. Okay? And he translated it this way: I will bless those who bless you, and him that curse you, I will show thee light. That sounds a little more like Jesus, right? But why this massive gap? That's a huge difference. That changes everything. I will bless those who bless you, and I will curse, and those that curse you, I will show them the light. I will show the light. Where does he get that from? Let's go over here to the King James Plus and look at this particular word, him that curses. We'll blow it up some. The word is kalal, and you can see it's a word of extremes. The Hebrew isn't a lot different than the English in that it can be very confusing. So it means to be light, or figuratively, to make bright, or to bring into contempt. We can curse, or we can make vile, or we can make sharp, but I like this one. Make bright. So, I will show them the light. If we have a choice, why do we always choose the most negative choice? Especially when it's not in character with Jesus. Well, that wasn't Jesus that said it, Steve. It was God. Jesus was God. If you've seen me, you've seen the Father. This has to agree with the life and teachings of Jesus. Our question is, does it as we've understood it? Or maybe we've missed it. At least consider that perhaps we missed it, and this particular rabbi was correct. I think he probably was. All right, let's keep going. As soon as Isaac had finished blessing Jacob, when Jacob had scarcely gone out from the presence of Isaac his father, Esau, his brother, came in from his hunting. He also prepared delicious food and brought it to his father, and he said to his father, Let my father arise and eat of his son's game, that you may bless me. He's wanting the barakot. Okay? He's wanting the barakot. He's already written off the bakera. He's wanting the barakot because that's the land, that's the wealth. That's everything you get in the physical. That's what Esau's interested in. So let my father arise and eat of his son's game, that you may bless me. His father Isaac said to him, Who are you? He answered, I'm your son, your firstborn Esau. Then Isaac trembled very violently and said, Who was it then that hunted game and brought it to me? And I ate it all before you came, and I have blessed him. Yes, and he shall be blessed. He got the barakot. As soon as Esau heard the words of his father, he cried out with an exceedingly great and bitter cry and said to his father, Bless me, even me also, O my father. But he said, Your brother came deceitfully, and he has taken away your blessing. Wow. So now Esau knows he has been taken again. He's been taken twice. He's lost his barakot. He's lost the bakara, both the birthright and the blessing. It's a bad deal. Why is he so upset? If he never really took anything all that seriously, why is he so distraught now? It's a strange thing, isn't it? Because this is a man that is wrapped up in the matters of the world, and yet he believes that this blessing of his father is the blessing in favor of God physically. He believed it. He was torn up because that was not going to be his. The word was that he was going to serve his brother. Oh, he's angry. So here's a man that's seemingly completely spiritually bankrupt, and yet he's got enough spiritual cash on hand to believe, enough faith to believe that this blessing matters. And yes, Esau does go on to be a great man, but he will never be what his brother is. Were we really that close? And why did this happen? All because Rebeka chose to go ahead and deceive her husband. Now remember, back in Genesis 25, Rebeka already had a prophecy about her kids. And the Lord said to her, 2 nations are in your womb, and 2 peoples from within you shall be divided. Oh, aren't they? The one shall be stronger than the other. The older shall serve the younger. So she already knew it was going to happen. That's the word of the Lord. But she decides to take matters into her own hands and make this happen. So we are left to wonder, what would have happened if Rebeka had just simply left well enough alone? What if she had let God take care of his word instead of her trying to make the prophecy come to pass? Maybe all this hatred could have been avoided. Perhaps. We are left to wonder now. Verse 35. But he said, Your brother came deceitfully, and he has taken away your blessing. Esau said, Is he not rightly named Jacob? Boy, he is not happy, guys. This is not good speech. For he has cheated me these 2 times. He took away my birthright, and now he's taken away my blessing. He took away my birthright, the bakara, and now he has taken away the blessings, the barakot. Then he said, Have you not reserved a blessing for me? Isaac answered and said to Esau, Behold, I have made him lord over you, and all his brothers I have given to him for servants. And with grain and wine I have sustained him. What then can I do for you, my son?" Wow, that sounds final. Esau said to his father, "Have you but one blessing, my father? Bless me, even me also, O my father." And Esau lifted up his voice and wept. Then Isaac his father answered and said to him, "Behold, away from the fatness of the earth shall your dwelling be, and away from the dew of heaven on high." What did he just pronounce upon Esau? There's not going to be a land of milk and honey in your future. You're probably going to dwell in desert places, in barren lands, away from the dew of heaven on high. It's not a pleasant picture. "By your sword you shall live, and you shall serve your brother. But when you grow restless, you shall break his yoke from your neck." Okay, that's a prophecy that we'll have to follow up on as we get to it, because that seems pretty significant. Now Esau hated Jacob because of the blessing with which his father had blessed him. And Esau said to himself, "The days of mourning for my father are approaching, in 43 years. Then I will kill my brother Jacob." But the words of Esau, her older son, were told to Rebekah. So she sent and called Jacob, her younger son, and said to him, "Behold, your brother Esau comforts himself about you by planning to kill you. Now therefore, my son, obey my voice. Arise, flee to Laban your brother, my brother, in Haran," remember Laban, "and stay with him a while until your brother's fury turns away. Until your brother's anger turns away from you and he forgets what you have done to him. Then I will send and bring you from there. Why should I be bereft of you both in one day?" So she's worried about losing both her sons because now her sons hate each other, or at least Esau is trying to kill Jacob. I don't think the same feeling exists from Jacob to Esau. But again, Rebekah's on the other side of the tent. She's always nearby. She's always getting word. It's almost a supernatural gift of hearing that she has. So she's warning her youngest son, Jacob, to flee. There's definitely a lack of faith going on here because Jacob has both the birthright and the blessing. Jacob is going to bless the world through his lineage, and he is going to be blessed. He is going to have land, have property, have wealth. All these things are going to happen because of the blessing. Does that really make him bulletproof? I don't know. I think maybe that's a faith issue. Perhaps if he really didn't have any faith at all, it might put that in danger. I don't know. But God is going to, according to this, bless the world through Jacob. And yet his mother is still trying to drive the boat. Okay, verse 46. Then Rebekah said to Isaac, "I loathe my life because of the Hittite women. If Jacob marries one of the Hittite women like these, one of the women of the land, what good will my life be to me?" She doesn't like the Hittite women, apparently. Again, this is her experience is with Esau's wives, who are, I guess, not her favorite. I don't know why. I don't know what they brought into the camp. No doubt foreign gods were part of it. No doubt a bit of riotous living to her son, and it has cost him. It has cost Esau dearly. So we don't know. It looks like she is setting up Jacob to have a wife from the homeland. So I am expecting that in the coming chapters, right? Well, that was quite the study. There is, like I said, a lot of content there, a lot that needs to be gone over again. I want to dig some more of those pictures out. And I think that there's quite a bit there that I could still dig. I believe there's a lot of ore in that mountain. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope that you are hanging in there, that you're all healthy. I know that this season presents a lot of opportunities to catch colds and the flu, and I just rebuke all of that. You shall be healthy, I say, and your families will be as well. And I really appreciate you guys tuning in. I will probably be publishing a chosen commentary this week, so stay tuned. And until next time, peace.